what you're seeing is, man, I gotta say, the last 2 years have been so interesting, okay? Because what the Bears are going through right now, let's be very clear, people like myself and maybe a lot of you guys out there went through this last year, where it just seems to, your case is just getting worse and worse by the day. And the news just continues to get worse, and you're just like, can we freaking get a break? Okay. And I know that's how certainly a lot of us Longs felt last year, where we went into the year, and it wasn't a ton of bad news. There was some murkiness out there, but then as the year went on, it just got worse, and inflation numbers just got worse, and the CPI just went further and further and further, right? And it seemed like just thing after thing happened that just caused our situation to get worse and worse and worse. Then obviously, we go into 2023 and things slowly start to get better and better and better. And for the Bear case, it's slowly started to erode as this year's ticked along, right? And they got a big hope, which was obviously SVB going down, right? And the regional banking problems. And that was their big hope. And then that kind of started to fizzle away. And now we're talking about CPI, 3s and 2s coming up here over the next few months. That erodes your whole, inflation's going to stay high and sticky forever and ever, right? And the Fed's going to have to just keep raising. Then you can start at least having the debate, especially once we start hitting 2s for CPI, we can start having the debate of, do we start lowering rates? And so it seems like on the Bear side, it's just getting worse for you. And things are just working against you worse and worse. And meanwhile, the market just continues to go up and up and up, which just makes it harder and harder. So I can kind of actually sympathize with the Bears, because it's literally the inverse of what happened to us Bulls last year, where it just got worse, man. It was a vicious, vicious year. We're going to see some massive EPS growth this year. We're already starting to see it in stocks like PayPal. I think PayPal, you're going to see their EPS continue to take off this year. Meta, oh my gosh, you haven't even seen EPS growth until you see Meta this next few quarters. Amazon, we're going to see massive EPS growth this next few quarters. Tesla, I think, is a wild card. It's like maybe. I think Microsoft's going to continue to put up solid numbers. I think Apple is a wild card. We'll see. NVIDIA's EPS is going to take off like a rocket ship over this next few quarters. And AMD is probably in a pretty good position over this next few quarters for very nice EPS growth as well, especially if they can get their AI business more rolling along the lines of NVIDIA, right? So from that context, I think we're going to see actually very strong EPS growth this year. The Russell 2000 in the past 1 month. The Russell 2000 has climbed almost 7% in the past 1 month, folks. Okay, 1 month. Now, the big argument from the Bears recently has been, and when I say recently, I really mean over the past couple months here, is, well, you know, Meta's doing good. Yeah, Tesla's doing good. Apple's doing good. Microsoft, a few of the other biggest stocks. But you know what? We're not really seeing anything past that, right? And things are starting to change, and they're changing rapidly. And a good view of that is looking at the Russell 2000, which basically, if you're unaware, it's basically a small cap index. So it's looking at smaller market cap companies, okay? That's what the Russell 2000 is, versus something like, we could say like the Qs, right? The NASDAQ 100, which is going to look at massive companies. The S&P 500 is going to look at like the 500 biggest market cap companies that are profitable out there, okay? Now, the Russell 2000 has had an awful past 5 years. Even after that, most recent 7% gain, the total gain for the Russell 2000 in the past 5 years is roughly 11%. The index has gone absolutely nowhere. It's been a complete disaster, right? It's basically been a lost half decade for the Russell 2000. And there's a lot of different reasons in regards to that. The main reasons being Rona, how that disrupted these businesses, how that disrupted supply chains. Then super high inflation hit a lot of these businesses harder than it hit other companies, plus massive risk off, plus higher interest rate environment. That's how you get the Russell to basically go nowhere over a 5-year span, okay? And so this is starting to shift. And check out my stocks here today. Something very interesting happened with my personal portfolio today. If I look at stocks I hold, right, guess what my top 2 stocks were today? One was Honest with over 9% gain here today. The other was Fubo TV, which was over a 6% gain. Both those stocks have been in like risk off mode for basically about 18 to 24 months. No one's wanted any piece of those sorts of companies, right? And although Fubo's been putting up great growth, still no one wants any part of that, right? They're unprofitable small cap stocks. No one's wanted a piece of those since, honestly, early 2021. It's been over 2 years thinking about it now. It's been over 2 years these type of stocks have been out of favor, right? But now all of a sudden they're catching a bid. which shows you that you got to ask yourself a few questions. Okay, two questions you got to ask yourself. One is, does somebody know something? The second question you got to ask yourself is, does the story add up here? Okay, so in regards to does somebody know something, we know CPI is coming out tomorrow, right? Now, based upon what Truflation is showing us, we should come in with something with a 3 in front of it. Truflation numbers were in the 3s and 2s all of last month. Okay, all of last month. So I would say we're likely to come in with a 3, and you got to ask yourself, did CPI leak, right? Did somebody know something? Knowing that CPI is coming out tomorrow, is somebody speculating, or does somebody actually know something, right? And sometimes these reports, believe me, they can leak out there, right? And does somebody know something? And the expectation for CPI is at a 4.2% number. So this is what people are expecting tomorrow, 4.2% for the number to come in at. And meanwhile, I think, I don't want to say it's in the bag, but dang, it's looking pretty close. I mean, it should be a 3 something, okay? 3.9, 3.8, 3.7, 3.5. You can guess where you want to guess as far as a 3, but it should be a 3. We shouldn't come in at a 4. And the market is expecting 4 too. So I can tell you, if we come in 3.9, 3.8, 3.7, it's going to be a huge boost for the market. And you got to ask yourself, does somebody see that CPI report before it comes out? I don't know. Could be speculation, or it could be somebody knows something, right? We'll never know the answer to that, okay? But, with all the stuff that goes on technology-wise, it's not rocket science to imagine somebody's potentially got that report. That's all I'll say about that, okay? Now, AI investor sentiment, right? You got to ask yourself, does the story add up in terms of people starting to position and buy these smaller cap stocks? With the Russell up almost 7% in the past 1 month. Well, yeah, the story adds up, because look at how many of these folks that were super bearish on the market are starting to flip over the bullish side. That's what we're starting to get, right? And if you back it up all the way back to late September, early October, over 60% of market participants were expecting the market to go down the next 6 months. They were bearish on the market the next 6 months. We got the opposite of that. And usually whenever the opposite scenario happens, a lot of times people gravitate toward the biggest companies first, because those are seen as like the safer plays, the Apples and the Microsofts and all the mega cap stocks, right? They'll say, okay, I feel a little bit safer buying these stocks first. And as the story comes together and it's looking a little more bullish and bullish and bullish, then people start venturing out to a lot of the mid caps, start venturing out to more of the small caps, right? And I mean, we went from 27% of market participants bullish to 44% in a matter of a couple weeks. We went from almost 40% of market participants bearish on the market for the next 6 months to 24% bearish, a huge drop-off in a matter of a few weeks. So to be honest, the story adds up. It adds up perfectly in regards to this whole situation, folks. And so what we're seeing, don't be surprised if you continue to see exactly what you're seeing in front of yourself for a while, especially if that CPI report comes out with something with a 3 in front of it. That's a game changer for the market. And although a 3 is still too high compared to what the market's looking for, right? The market wants to see 2s, and obviously the Fed wants to see 2s. I can tell you, when you're coming off 9% plus, and all of a sudden you can go down to 7s, 6s, 5s, 4s, and now 3s potentially, then you're talking about 2s right around the corner, okay? And based upon Truflation, it's been showing 2s pretty much this entire month of June so far. So good news, okay?